In the year 2092, humanity has conquered death. People no longer age, no longer get sick, and no longer die. But this gift has come at a cost. No one can have children anymore. Among this world of immortals, there is only one exception. A 118-year-old man named Nemo. He is the last mortal on Earth. Despite his evident age, Nemo insists that he is 35 years old and was born in 1975. Scientists believe he has lost his memory, and since there are no records of his past, people start calling him Mr. Nobody. He lives under constant surveillance, and every week, people vote on whether he should be kept alive artificially or allowed to die naturally. Curious about his past, a psychiatrist named Dr. Feldheim tries hypnosis to unlock his memories. Under hypnosis, Nemo recalls not just his past, but something even stranger. His memories stretch back to before his birth. He remembers a place where all unborn souls reside, knowing everything that could ever happen to them. Before being born, however, the angels of oblivion erased their memories. But something went wrong. The angels forgot about Nemo. He was born remembering every possible future his life could take. During Dr. Feldheim's absence, a journalist sneaks into the facility to interview Nemo. In their conversation, Nemo shares his extraordinary knowledge. He explains that babies choose their parents before birth, and he picked his mother simply because she smelled nice. He also tells the journalist that time is not as rigid as people believe. While most can only see the past, he can see the future too. This should be impossible. After all, time moves in only one direction. But for Nemo, it doesn't. At the age of 9, Nemo tells his mother about the angels of oblivion. She laughs and tells him to stop playing Skyrim. But when he predicts that his father's car will lose control and kill a woman, she does not take him seriously. She tells him that people can only see the past, not the future. When his parents' marriage falls apart, Nemo finds himself facing a life-changing decision. Should he stay with his father or leave with his mother? At the train station, his mother boards a train to Canada, while his father remains on the platform. In one version of his life, he chooses his mother, and in another, he stays with his father. Each choice leads to a different path, shaping different futures. If Nemo follows his mother, he grows up in Canada as a rebellious teenager. His mother's new boyfriend, Harry, moves in with them, bringing along his daughter, Anna. At school, Nemo notices Anna before realizing she is his new stepsister. They both despise their parents' relationship and become close, eventually falling in love. They sneak around, hiding their affair from their parents. When their secret is discovered, their parents decide to separate them. Anna moves to New York with her father, and before leaving, she makes Nemo promise to meet her at the lighthouse every Sunday until they can be together again. Nemo waits. Months pass. Letters from Anna arrive, but his mother hides them. Eventually, they lose touch. 2 decades later, Nemo still remembers Anna. He works as a pool cleaner, hoping that one day he might find her, because she always loved to swim. It's like taking a job at Burger King because your crush likes to eat there. Then, by chance, he sees her at the train station. They immediately recognize each other. Anna confesses she never let herself love anyone else, never truly lived without him. But she also admits she is afraid of losing him again, afraid of the pain she went through before. She asks him to give her 2 days, then call her. She hands him her number and tells him to meet her at the lighthouse. But fate plays a cruel trick. A sudden downpour washes the ink off the paper, making her number unreadable. Nemo waits at the lighthouse every day, but Anna never comes. If Nemo stays with his father, he grows up in a quiet town, a life of routine and stability. One day at school, a girl named Elise confesses her love to him. Unsure of his feelings, he decides to go along with it. They eventually marry, but their relationship is troubled. Elise suffers from depression, and despite his efforts, Nemo cannot make her happy. They have children, but the marriage remains hollow. Nemo wonders if this was the right path for him. In another possibility, he meets another woman, Jean, and marries her instead. This version of his life is luxurious and perfect on the surface. Successful career, a beautiful wife, and a stable life. But it feels empty, like a script he is following, rather than a life he chose. In yet another possibility, Nemo meets Anna at the beach as a teenager. When she asks him to swim with her and her friends, he initially refuses rudely. This decision haunts him years later when he sees her again as an adult, now a mother of 2, living a different life. Regret fills him. What if he had just been honest back then? In another version, he does open up to her, admitting that he can't swim. This small change leads them to spend time together, falling deeply in love. In this life, they marry, have children, and live a happy life. One evening, while driving home, Nemo hits a bird on the road. The impact causes him to lose control of the car. The car spun out of control, hurtling off the road and into a deep lake. Nemo struggled, but the water swallowed him whole, and his life ended there. Yet, time rewound, and he found himself back at the moment of choice. This time, he chose to stay with his father, but life did not turn out any better. After an accident left his father disabled, Nemo took on the responsibility of caring for him while balancing school and work at a small shop. During his free time, he found solace in writing science fiction stories about traveling to Mars. Riding his bike and dreaming about space were his favorite escapes from reality. One evening at a school party, Nemo saw a girl named Elise and felt an immediate connection. But when he finally gathered the courage to approach her, he froze. As she waited for him to speak, the only thing he could blurt out was something about Mars. Elise laughed at his nerdy enthusiasm and made him promise that if she ever died, he would spread her ashes on Mars. Days later, Nemo decided to take a chance and visit Elise's house to ask her out. But when he arrived, he saw her with her ex-boyfriend, Stefano. Heartbroken, he sped away on his motorcycle, blinded by frustration. Then came the crash. The world blurred, and everything faded to black. When Nemo regained awareness, he was trapped in his own body. He could hear, see, and feel, but he could not move. He was in a vegetative state. He could sense his parents sitting by his bedside, even reuniting because of him. Desperate to escape his immobile prison, he focused on the memory of typing on his typewriter, trying to move his fingers. After what felt like an eternity, he lifted one finger. Then time reset. He was back at Elise's house, witnessing her heartbreak over Stefano again. This time, instead of running away, he approached her and confessed his love. Elise broke down, explaining that she loved Stefano, but Stefano didn't love her back. She rejected Nemo gently and left him standing in the cold night, alone once more. Determined to move on, Nemo made a rash vow. The first girl who danced with him at prom would be the one he married. That night, he met a sweet and charming girl named Jean. They danced together and he saw this as fate. As they walked home, Nemo made a series of promises to himself. He would marry Jean, become wealthy, and build a successful life. Years passed. Nemo and Jean had 2 children, a grand house and all the comforts of a perfect life. But deep down, he felt nothing. The life he had carefully planned had turned hollow. Tired of chasing happiness and material success, he decided to leave everything to chance. From then on, every decision would be made with a coin toss. The coin led him to an airport, where he assumed the identity of a man named Daniel Jones. A chauffeur took him to a luxury hotel, but fate had one last twist for him. 2 assassins mistook him for the real Daniel Jones and killed him on the spot. Then, time folded in on itself again. He was back at Elise's house. This time, he refused to give up on her. He convinced her to give him a chance. She hesitated, but eventually agreed. They got married, and for a while they were happy. But happiness is fleeting. In one version of their life, a terrible accident claimed Elise's life. Holding on to the promise he had made long ago, Nemo took her ashes and boarded a spacecraft to Mars. As he returned from fulfilling her final wish, he met a woman named Anna on the ship. They shared a brief, meaningful moment, but before their story could unfold, disaster struck. The ship was destroyed by meteoroids, and their fate was sealed in the void of space. In another version of events, Nemo and Elise had 3 children, but Elise battled depression and a borderline personality disorder, causing their marriage to crumble. Despite Nemo's endless efforts to support her, Elise eventually left him to chase the one person she had always loved, Stefano. And once again, Nemo was left to pick up the shattered pieces of his heart. Amidst the endless cycle of choices, Nemo found himself in an eerie, dreamlike world. The city felt staged, like a set from a movie. Clues led him to an abandoned house, where he discovered a television and a DVD player. To his shock, the screen showed 2 versions of himself, one at the age of 118 and the other at 34. The older Nemo spoke as if he had already lived through everything. He revealed that time was reversed for him and that none of these lives were truly real. In this particular universe, Nemo had never been born. Every possible life he could have lived was merely a projection in the mind of his unborn self. The journalist interviewing Nemo was baffled. He asked which life was real, which past belonged to the 118-year-old man. Nemo simply smiled and told him that every path was the right one. The journalist, now even more confused, asked how Nemo could still be alive if he had died in so many of these realities. Was there an afterlife? Nemo chuckled and asked a deeper question. How can you be sure you even exist? Before the journalist could answer, Nemo told him that neither of them existed. They were all just figments of a young boy's imagination. The 9-year-old Nemo, standing on a train platform, forced to make an impossible choice. Young Nemo, desperate to find the right decision, had explored every possible future in his mind, and yet after seeing all the outcomes, he still could not choose. So he made the only choice that felt right. He chose not to decide at all. Instead of going with his mother or father, he turned away from both and ran toward an unknown future. Sometimes in chess, the only winning move is not to move at all. As he made his decision, all the fragmented realities he had imagined began to crumble and fade away. The movie set, the countless lives, the heartbreaks, the successes, it all disappeared. Back in his final moments as an old man, Nemo lay on his deathbed, his journey coming to an end. His mind drifted to one last memory, the moment he had reunited with Anna at a lighthouse. He whispered her name with his last breath. At exactly 5:50 a.m., the universe reached a turning point. The expansion that had lasted for billions of years came to a halt. Gravity overtook dark energy and the universe began to contract. Time itself started moving in reverse. The cosmos, once expanding outward, was now collapsing back into a singularity, a phenomenon known as the Big Crunch. As time rewound, Nemo's existence reversed with it. He traveled back through the years, growing younger, until he found himself once again as a child. He saw his parents, whole and together, and he saw Anna, the girl he had always loved. A triumphant laugh escaped his lips. His younger self had finally found his true path. The journey was over. He had finally made the right choice. And with that, the story of Nemo Nobody came to an end, only to begin again. And to begin a new and fresh story, I recommend you click my recaps on the right next. Drop a like and subscribe to never miss an upload in the future. And now, as always, grab your popcorn, enjoy yourself, and see you soon, my friend.